Hello and welcome to Rock. I Wander P and this is Restore Our Communities. My very special guest, my friend, we have none other than Miss Shawna M. Hey Shawna, how are you?
How are you?
I am good, girl. You're looking good and it's just grown up. We've been having this conversation. Now we're on the camera. Tell our viewing audience who you are and what is your purpose?
My name is Shawna M. I don't know if you guys have remembered me from the first time I was on the show, but my purpose here today is to come back and talk about my book, My True Soul, Exploited, Apprehended, and Broken Within.
What is that, My Soul, Exploited, Apprehended? Where did the title come from?
The title pretty much came from my background. My background, my background, my history, everything within me that I've had to deal with, that I've working on, trying to overcome. So how I felt like I was exploited, which I go in grave detail about that in the book. How I felt being apprehended, and at the end, pretty much go in detail about the brokenness. Okay.
Well, when we talk about this, we hear so many people these days, Shawna, and there was a time when it was hidden and people didn't want to talk about it. What made you want to talk about the abuse that happened in your life and all these things, and for you to form this into a book? Let's kind of break that down. I mean, why? When so many people kept it hush hush, why? Was there a breaking point?
Initially, the thought came to me to write a book about self-mutilation. You know,
okay,
but I
you
didn't.
Were a cutter.
Right. I didn't know a lot about it to write a whole book about it. So went home to my lover at the time. I was like, hey, I'm gonna write a book about my life. They were like, cool, I think that would benefit you and be well for you. So it was almost, I was tired. I was tired.
Fed up?
Which, you know, I give all the glory to God. If he didn't birth that book in me, I was tired. And I had to write the book. I mean, I had to write something. So, and it just kind of formed into the pages. I mean, I got blood, sweat, and tears in those pages. So, I didn't know that it was going to be a book. I just had to write.
So you initially just started writing, because, you know, I understand therapists, and you would hear people say writing is good, and that if you write, you can express yourself. And so as you start seeing this, because when I read the book, I'll tell you, and I said this once before, that when I read it, I mean, after reading just the introduction, it brought tears to my eyes, because, see, I was molested as a child. And when you talked about that, I'm like, oh, my God. You know, how could someone just talk about that? We watch Oprah, we watch shows like that where they talk about these things, and it's a healing process. And what I've found for myself is that I could cry for other people, but I couldn't cry for myself. So when I read your book and read what you had gone through, and what age was this that this happened to you?
Adolescence.
Okay.
Yeah, adolescence, pretty much from, if you want to, from elementary. From elementary, middle school, and then it kind of escalated. Well, as far as the mutilation came from.
Did you feel no one loved you while you were cutting? Because I work with children, and we deal with behavior of children, and that's some of the areas that we deal with. You know,
well,
they don't feel loved.
I feel like we all have our own way with dealing with things. You know, some people, you know, scream in a pillow. Some people take long walks. Some people
drink, drugs.
Thank you. So that happened to be my way. I talk about it in the book.
Was it painful?
Excruciating. But at the same time, I will, and I still say this today, I'll take physical scars over emotional scars any day. And I have a lot of both. So my family
and you have to elaborate on that now, because we know invisible chains are much worse than the ones we can see now.
Right. It's...
With the scar, when you say that, did they remind you or something? I mean...
Yeah, I mean, I'm scarred up from the wrist up. So... clearly. I mean, because even though you have physical scars, they heal. Eventually they heal. The pain heals. But the emotional scars do not. I mean, you know, they're there. I mean, they'll heal in time, but it's just, for me, I would take the physical scars over emotional any day, just because the emotional wounds, they traveled and they lingered, and they took hold of me, you know, and kind of restricted me from doing what my purpose was here, you know. So I didn't understand that. So today I'm, you know, I'm getting better at understanding that.
Right. And you know what, sister, let me tell you something. I was so proud. We were talking earlier, and I'm just looking at you. You matured. You look very happy. I see, and you are a mother. You know, when we look at all those things, and when you guys read this book, My True Soul, Exploited, Apprehended, you know, and understand this sister's story, for you now, how is that? Let's talk about the children and how they came a part of being in your life.
Well, for you guys that read, you know, she said I'm a mother. When you guys read the book, I talk about, I speak about my nephew. My book is dedicated to God and my nephew. And on the dedication page, it's his birth name. But throughout the story, throughout the book, I name him Sean, kind of named after me.
Okay.
So, and then I talk about losing him. You know, so now for those of you that have read my story, he's back home. So
wow. How old is he?
He just turned 6.
Great.
Yeah, that's the man of my life.
All right, all right. I hear that, girlfriend. And then he's adorable. You guys didn't get a chance to see him, but he's adorable. So that's that. So I know that fills your heart because you being a child, you understand what it is to give love. Because see, there could be people in your circumstances that are in your circumstances that are repeat offenders. So that's wonderful to hear that.
We were apart for 10 months. 10 months, no contact at all. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
That's great. And so, how does he feel about being back there and being seeing what mom is doing?
You know, he's excited. He's glad to be back home. Okay. He understands this is where he's supposed to be.
Okay.
You know, he's happy about the book. He knows his book. His name is in the book. So he helps me pass out bookmarks.
Okay.
So
he helps you sell those books. That's a neat idea.
Okay. So I couldn't ask for a better child. So the only difference is I didn't birth him, but he's still my son. And
listen, what about this promoting of the book? Where are some of the venues where a person would like to get this? We can give out your information, your email information, or telephone number.
If you guys plan on traveling, it's now it's in Atlanta, in Madu Bookstore in.
What about Facebook? Can they find
right, you can most. I'm sorry. You can most definitely find me on Facebook, author Shawna Harrison, ShawnaHarrison.com. You guys have my email, my phone number. Call me, email me. There will be no one answering that phone. That would be me. So.
Okay. Well, that's great. So what are some of the other places you're planning to take the book and talk with maybe different people? Now, are you going to be dealing with individuals such as yourself, or what type of audience will you be gearing your book toward?
Well, along with the book is also in 2 bookstores here. I mean, I've spoken to churches, I've spoken to youth groups, so people.
You should be flooded with churches because oh gosh, that should definitely be.
But you know, but this last church I spoke, it was an older group of people, and they had no
clue.
Yeah.
they have a clue, but they just don't want to deal with it because we're talking about old school.
I was shocked. They had no clue of homosexuality, mutilation. Really? They do that? They had no clue of nothing. You know, so I spoke at TSU. I'll be back at TSU on the 19th of this month.
Okay.
So, I mean, I stay busy.
Wow, that is too funny. You know, because I say that because, you know, I have my book and we are doing the promotions and everything too. You know, and everything is not always, you know, glamorous. It's not always fun. You know, so when you're working for yourself, we already know that that's a little bit difficult anyway because you got to work harder.